All right.
The Chris
Oh, shit. Why Chris will soon be a nightmare for Mr. Beast. This video has a lot of backlash. Haven't seen it yet, but seen the tweets. FR Dash for the 300 East. Joe, if I got to the NFL draft, will you be watching me get drafted? I ain't gonna get Philly cheesesteak Eagles. What? I ain't gonna go on the Philly cheesesteak Eagles. Well, if you got drafted, you would. Unless you denied like a $5 million contract.
The Chris Tyson situation could become a complete disaster for Mr. Beast's brand. However, it may also
Doubtful.
Provide
He's so big, people will watch his shit.
Some unique benefits. So let's begin by going over.
Remember, chat, on this video, any targeted transphobic chats will be banned. Yeah. It's like, you guys are allowed to share your opinion here, but if you're just straight up transphobic, you're gonna get banned. I'm prefacing that now, so if you're like, fuck that, and then you say something transphobic, you're gonna get banned, right? Lord, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Sub in the chat for that. Thank you for the 10 gifted. Need to get this memo out, though. You're allowed to share your opinion, okay? You can have your takes. That's fine. But if you have a take that is disagreeable, it should be respectful, right? Not something that is like, oh, fuck this. Oh, fuck Chris. Oh, what are you fucking kidding me? That's going to be whack. 2 Inch said, I'm not saying shit this video. Yeah, good. Good. And Lord, thank you for the 10 gifteds.
Over the drama before explaining exactly how this will impact the Mr. Beast channel. In mid-2022, fans began to notice that Chris Tyson was changing. In the early days, he represented the quintessential southern gun and truck loving dude, yet beginning in March 2022, Chris began—
He painted his nails. The Carl effect. He painted his nails.
And to display increasingly feminine traits, making tweets such as, I finally got my—
Carl made him gay. Carl made him trans.
nails done at a nail tech.
The Carl effect in its work.
Additionally, Chris would highlight that his facial appearance had changed significantly since the start of the pandemic, which accompanied another post reading, okay, so in 4 different customs I had to prove I was myself because I, quote, look nothing like my passport pic, so much that I'm considering updating my passport. Do you see any resemblance?
I mean, that's an issue even if you're not transitioning. Because how often do you renew your passport? Once you're 18, you renew your passport like once every 10 years. 10 years? You would look entirely different. When you're 18 versus 28, it's every 4 years. Yeah, every 4 years until you're 18. Once you're 18, I'm pretty sure it's 10. Like, I don't think I have to renew my passport till, 2032. Dude, I'm gonna look way fucking different. Moonday for the sub, Ollie for the 300 bits. People say it's Carl's fault, but I don't think it was. It's not. Carl made Chris more comfortable in changing quicker. But Chris would have changed either way. It's his personality, right? Carl for the sub. Carl didn't make Chris trans. Yeah, boy, or your boy for the sub, Jaden for the sub. He probably made him more comfortable in having those thoughts.
Do you see any resemblance? Prompting
which he was already having.
Replies such as, you went from man to boy. Chris responded by stating, nah,
yeah,
to
by
be
Josiah. Josiah rises. Yeah, you're feminine. You're a little femboy. You got soft hands, don't you, brother? I bet you got soft hands. You paint your nails?
honest, I just really started taking my mental health seriously and eating better, yet his Twitter photos kept insinuating that Chris was becoming more feminine, with this same kind of look showing up in his Mr. Beast appearances. For example, on the 6th of January 2023, Beast Reacts uploaded a video titled I Strapped a GoPro to a Fish, in which Chris dressed in a way that prompted comments such as, Chris has been adopting more and more traits that remind me of my grandmother. Okay, so some people just gonna ignore Chris's nails? Chris had to have lost a bet, the look is getting wild. The response to the video then prompted countless viral TikToks, such as this one with 700,000 likes, stating how did Chris go from this to this, while others even made the claim that Carl had turned him gay.
Yeah,
now,
this Carl effect made him gay. Yeah, Carl made him gay, made him like men. Yeah.
Pretty ridiculous, as Carl isn't even that feminine.
Carl.
and Chris had come out as bisexual years before he and Carl had even met. The true catalyst for Chris Tyson's feminization instead seemed to have come from his marriage. In January 2022, Chris would post a photo with his wife to his Instagram, yet after this, the family photo stopped altogether. Fans also noticed that he'd removed his wedding ring, with the ring's absence correlating perfectly with the very first post in which he'd painted his nails. Chris confirmed the split in a post from March 2023 reading, "For a little over
that was recent. What was that? That's like 3 weeks ago, right?
Year now, me and Katie have been separated, with this also confirming that Chris's transformation began as soon as his marriage came to an end. Chris went from lighting campfires and raising a family with his beautiful wife to now trying to be a wife with his
Did you see Chris quoted a demon? What do you mean quoted a demon? What do you mean? Like from the Bible? Or like an in real life demon? What do you mean? Did you see Chris quoted a demon? The fuck does that mean? Bro, yeah, source, he quoted a demon. Yeah, could you tell me the quote instead of just repeatedly saying the same fucking thing 10 times? He quoted a demon. Where? What do you mean quoted a demon? He said, "We are legend, we are many." Or "We are legion, we are many." Then Jesus asked him, "What is your name?" "My name is Legion," he replied, "for we are many." Okay. Like, what is that? What do you mean? Leo for the 1,000 biddies. The fact that he sent out a lawsuit, I get that he needs respect for his choices. It's too far with the lawsuit. He isn't suing anyone! Oh my god, dude. I'm sorry I'm getting mad at this, but it's just, it's not even the situation that's pissing me off. It's the fact that people see shit on social media and don't look into it at fucking all. At fucking all. The lawsuit was a fucking joke, right? In the picture below the lawsuit, if anyone with a fucking brain read that, it was a picture of Mr. Beast with glasses that were like this. "I'll have my lawyer in contact." And it was Mr. Beast like this. And motherfuckers read, he's suing somebody for being transphobic. He's suing them. Chris is a fucking pussy. He's suing someone. He's not suing anyone. Oh my god, it agitates me. He's not suing. Dude, the amount of people that come into my chat and like, "You see Chris is suing somebody because they made fun of him for being trans." He's not. He had to actually fucking flat out be like, "Oh, this was obviously a joke." Like, dude, I'm not even as mad at like, I'm not mad at what you're saying. I'm mad that like people like just look, people will see shit online and not look into it at all. It's just so annoying. Like, dude, give it a goog. Give it a goog. Go on his Twitter. It's not real. I was joking. Flat out. Just right there. It was a joke. Donnie for the 300 biddies. Sorry I lost my shit there. Never understood why people get so upset about this stuff. Yeah. Leo for the 300 biddies. I didn't know. I thought it was for real. My fault. You're good. I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at the general idea that people don't look into anything and immediately spread false information of, "Oh, Chris is suing somebody for making fun of him being trans." And then no one ever even sees the tweet. No one ever looks into it. They just say the shit. They just spew it, right? I've done it before in base shit, and I try not to because it's really, I know it's hard not to. But like with something like that, bro, just look it up. Fuck. TJ for the 300 biddies. Yeah, you DM multiple people say shit was weird. You have to admit that. But he literally DM'd multiple people shit was weird. You have to admit that. What do you mean? Whole potato for the 300 biddies. Have you seen old Mr. Beast member Jake the Viking, what he said about Chris? No. Leo for the 300 bits. I'm fucking dying. I did not expect you to scream out of nowhere. Dude, I screamed out of nowhere because it's just like Dude, that statement that you've been saying when I'm doing, like, I could be playing Fortnite. Like, literally, this week, playing Fortnite. Look over. Did you see Chris is suing somebody because they're trans? Oh, I think that's false. Next day. Dude, 10 minutes later. Did you see somebody? Dude, am I wrong, chat? If you're a Joe Bart viewer and you watch all my streams, somebody has told me that statement 40 times in the last week. 40 times in the last week. Did you see Chris is suing somebody because they made fun of him for being trans? No, he's not. I've said he's not calmly like 30 times. And that's why I lost my shit there. Because, like, I'm actively saying, yeah, that's cap, right? That's cap. Sumo for the sub. Every stream. Couldn't even, now we're actually on the topic, so I get it. But, like, dude, I could be playing Valorant. Did you see Chris from Mr. Beast is suing somebody because they're trans, because they made fun of him for being trans? Fuck. Isaac for the 340 bits. Does Chris still use he, him pronouns? I think. I don't know. Because I saw Mr. Beast called Chris he. So I would assume his best friend would know, but I don't know for sure. I don't know if they said anything about that. And Charming for the 300 biddies.
Man buns.
He uses all pronouns. Yeah, so I'm just going to say he.
And long nails. As the
That's what I know. I met Chris. Like, I said he. So I like just from then, yeah.
Criticism continued to pile. Chris announced that he'd be taking a break from social media. And while there was a possibility that Chris would make efforts to return to his former self, he'd rather do the opposite and double down on his feminine image, showing up to the Kids' Choice Awards looking like this.
Is that Mr. Beast's girlfriend? Who is that? Because I know all of them. Head of Night Media, Nolan. Forget his name. What's his name? Tariq. Met him. Tariq, Chris, Mr. Beast. Don't know.
Showing up to the Kids' Choice Awards looking
Reed.
like this before making the announcement that he'd been doing HRT for approximately 2 months, which according to a quick Google search is
Yo, by the way, Leo, I'm sorry I lost my shit on you. That was like pent-up anger from like 40 motherfuckers just nonstop asking me, oh, did you hear this? When it's just cap. K-Bot for the fucking 300 biddies. I want Joe to go on a TED Talk. Dude, I would be terrible on a TED Talk.
Medical process for changing genders. Chris would expand on this by stating, informed consent HRT saved my and many others' lives. The hurdles GNC people have to jump through to get life-saving gender-affirming health.
What is GNC people? What does that mean?
Healthcare in a first world country is wild to me. Just let people make informed decisions about their own bodies, which received a positive response from both Carl and Mr. Beast, who wrote, got you, I did one more heart than Carl because I'm a better friend. While his co-workers expressed positivity, others weren't so welcoming. There goes a father figure the kid won't ever be able to look up to. Hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times.
Hard times create strong men create good times create weak men create hard times, weak man times. The main thing that I see is there goes the father figure. I grew up without a father figure. While my father was in my life, I saw my dad maybe 1.5 weeks out of the year, right? There was a span where I didn't see my father for 3 years. Just about, right? Just about. Right? 3 years almost, right? It's fine, right? It's fine. Number one, your mom can raise you. Number two, Chris is still going to be in the kid's life. Chris is still going to be in the kid's life, right? Just because he's no longer a burly man doesn't mean you can't look up to them. Am I wrong? You can still look up to them. They don't need to be masculine. You could have, it's just a father figure. It's a parental figure. Somebody that you would aspire to be, a good person. Someone that has goals, that's successful, that has done things with their lives. They don't need to be a masculine man to be a father figure, right? Or to be a figure. Yes, it would be more motherly because now Chris is trans, but still, it's the idea of like, oh, you don't necessarily need that. Yeah. Mr. Outdoorsman for the 5 gifteds. Thank you for the fucking subs, dude. Leo for the 300 biddies. You hurt my feelings. You'll hear from my lawyers. I'll see you in court. Yeah. TJ for the 300 biddies. Been safe for so long. Sunny V2 is a terrible YouTuber. Also, Chris DM the people he sued which was weird because it made it seem real, but he actually went out of his way to scare people with a lawsuit over a tweet. Yeah, but it's also kind of crazy the people that he messaged back thought they would sue him. That is kind of funny, though. You tweet at Chris DMs you and says he's going to sue you. You're some, like, sophomore in high school shitting your pants. Oh, my God! Oh, my God! Man, he has so much money, he's going to sue me. Oh, my God, I made fun of him. Oh, no. Oh, Mom. Oh, no, he's going to sue me. Oh, I don't have the money for that. I just started working at the ice cream shop this summer. Oh, he's going to take it all. Oh. Freaking out. Somebody redeemed raid of choice. All right, let me know what it is, and then I'll raid them at the end of the stream. Lord for the 1,000 biddies. Love your streams. I lost my father to suicide in 2015. I'm sorry to hear that. You always make my day. W stream. W message. And I'm sorry you lost your father to suicide. That really does suck. Oh my God. Sorry I came out of my little bit there to read that. But I'm sorry you lost your father to suicide. Soul for the sub.
Weak man times. Chris responded to this comment by stating, "This is just more dog whistling that somehow trans and GNC folks aren't safe around kids. Tucker begs for me to come back when I leave for like—
Oh, Alf, I missed your bits. Hey, Joe, I'm 15 on antidepressants because of OCD. It puts my life on pause a lot, but you help me a lot with your stream, so I wanted to say thank you. Remember, chat, real men cry. Facts. Don't be afraid to speak out about your problems. Genuine W message. W fucking message. And I'm sorry that that all that shit puts your life on pause, but I mean, I'm glad I could help. You helped me a lot with your streams. And yeah, you're right. Real men do cry. Real men cry.
2 days to film.
All right, I gotta rewind.
Stating, "This is just more dog whistling that somehow trans and GNC..."
2inch said, I don't cry. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. You're telling me you never cried. They said raid bed sheets. Remember that and tell me at the end of stream.
See, folks aren't safe around kids. Tucker begs for me to come back when I leave for like 2 days to film. He is so—
Oh my God, I don't have this up. Oh my God, dude. Now we gotta rewind a third time.
Around kids. Tucker begs for me to come back when I leave for like 2 days to film. He is so loved and happy. Kids aren't born with hate, it's taught by people like you, and my child will only know love. I know I'm going to be a great parent, and so is every other person who puts the love of their child before every—
Yeah, it's like saying, like, the same people that are saying, oh, there goes a father figure, are saying that, like, gay couples can't raise children. This guy is also saying that either like two lesbian women can't raise a child because there's no father figure, and two gay men can't raise a child because there's no motherly figure. Like, that's what Live with Evan is saying.
Times. Chris responded to this comment by stating,
So it's not just transphobic, it's also homophobic. Because they're saying that if you don't have a father figure or a mother figure, that means they can't raise a kid.
"This is just more dog whistling that some..."
It's not normal. Just because it's not what the majority does doesn't mean it's bad, right? Yes, it's not frequent in relationships. Does that mean it's bad or incapable of being able to raise a child?
How trans and GNC folks aren't safe around kids. Tucker begs for me to come back when I leave for like 2 days to film. He is so loved and happy. Kids aren't born with hate, it's taught by people like you, and my going to be a great parent, and so is every other person who puts the love of their child.
Is this going to be on YouTube? I don't know. I determine what's going to be on YouTube afterwards. If y'all want to say hi YouTube, you can, but I mean, it's not guaranteed this will be on YouTube.
Everything. I made this decision because I wanted to show up as my best and happiest self for him. In a way, this was for Tucker. Chris's response received some positivity such as, "I'm convinced you're an amazing father. Tucker is lucky to have you and also lucky to have all of those who surround and support you in his life, as well as I adore that, I'm glad you made that decision. It's so much easier to be a parental figure when you're not struggling with dysphoria, yet he'd also receive an equal amount of backlash. You ripped apart your family.
You ripped apart your family, took the father figure away. This is what I'm going to say, though, right? When you're a young child, you don't have a perception of where men and women fall or even parental figures until you're taught them, right? Did any of you ever dress up as a princess as a guy for Halloween? Or ever want to? Or ever play with Barbies? Or do any of that shit, right? Some of you might say no. A lot of you are going to say, yeah, right? I did. Because you don't see it as weird, right? Or girls dressing up as men, right? A lot of people didn't because your dads probably also said no. But, like, you're taught those norms, right? You're taught societal norms in the effect that when you're born, it's not weird for you. It's a societal construct, is what I'm saying. In the idea of what's feminine or masculine, or the idea of having, it is biological in the sense of, yeah, like a mother and a father to have a child because it's genitalia that's needed to create fucking humans. But the idea of the motherly figure, the fatherly figure, and just the fucking masculine, feminine attributes are associated from a society, right? Because when you're growing up, you don't have any recollection of that. Just because it's not weird. It's not weird. It's if you're 5 and you're watching fucking My Little Pony, you might say, oh, I like this show. It's a feminine show. You don't know that because you don't know what the idea of feminine is because it's taught to you. Oh, fallacy for the sub. That's my point, right? How do 2 men have a child? By adopting? Yeah, or they could get is it a surrogate mother? You could get that, where they would implement sperm or something like that.
Emily, and took a father figure away from your son just so you could paint your nails and act zesty. Pathetic. He will get torn apart at school, won't want to have friends around his house.
That's like wrong though, because like society's changing. He will get torn apart at school, won't want to have friends around his house. You know how you're wrong? Because it's fucking Chris from Mr. Beast. You know, every motherfucker's gonna want to go over this kid's house. Because it's fucking Chris from Mr. Beast. He's famous. He's fucking famous. Christina, I don't know if they changed their name. Oh, no one's gonna want to go over this kid's house. You're wrong. Lord for the 300 biddies. If Chris gets female parts on his body, what do you think Mr. Beast would do? Nothing.
A life full of difference and being alone. Must have missed the point in that tweet. How's this for him when you're depriving him of a father figure? Although Chris wasn't altered by these comments, as he'd once again reiterate his certainty in a new post reading, "It's never too late to start being yourself," which received praise from Mr. Beast as well as Nolan and Carl. However, these comments also added extra fuel to the fire. In a few years, look back at this thread and remember they were never your friends. Only yes men cowards. Hope you come out of this safe. Mr. Beast responded to this with a simple, opinion irrelevant
Damn, he ratioed. What does he mean, they will never your friends, only yes men cowards?
To which the original commenter would state, I have 30 followers, so go ahead and ratio me. I'll still rest easy knowing that I'm not a coward who idly sits by watching my friend ruin his own life. In some ways,
but how is it ruining their life? That's what I don't get, right? Like, let me just say this, right? In a scenario, he's bisexual. Nobody cares that he was bisexual, right? That wasn't a problem. If the divorce isn't a problem, right? Nobody cares about that. It's the fact that he's trans, right? You don't sit there and let your friend deteriorate their own life when they're addicted to crack or cocaine or alcohol or they're not getting a job. They're not societally performing. They don't have money. They're a degenerate. They don't do anything with their lives. You're trying to help your friend, live a life, right? But Chris being trans isn't going to ruin his life. Even if Chris wasn't trans, he would have gotten a divorce. He's still raising his kid. What is ruining? Where's the ruining of the life? Why would his friends say, "Oh, you shouldn't be trans; it will ruin your life"? What's changing? The hate. That's the only thing that would be ruining his life. The hate. What's ruining his life? I want a genuine answer. Like, that's what I don't get. Will you ever turn trans? No. I like being a man, but there's people that wouldn't. There's people that are men that ideally see themselves as women. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Personally, I'm a cisgendered male. I'm a cisgendered male. I don't plan on changing. No. But with people that want to, that's perfectly fine. He wouldn't have gotten a divorce if he wasn't trans. How do you know that? How do you know that? Finish for the sub. Hyper for the 5 biddies. I gotta go to work, but I want to leave this message. Love or happiness should never be deprived of somebody just because it's not normal or deemed weird. Whatever makes you happy, you should pursue it and enjoy your life because you only get one. Yeah, facts. Unless it's illegal, then don't pursue that. Like if what pursues happiness is heroin, don't do that.
It was nice to see the boys standing up for Chris on Twitter. However, the situation has already begun to change the dynamic.
The thing is, one person being trans doesn't make your day worse or any different, so why do people care? Why do people go outside of their way to make trans people feel worse or about themselves? If you want my honest take, people don't see the need for it, right? Like, why be trans? Because you see the life through your own... everyone sees life. Everyone sees life through their own eyes, right? You have your own perspective and your own perception of everything. So if you are a straight cisgendered man and you've always grown up with the ideology that there are only men and women, there's no need to be trans, there's no need for that. When somebody that you like changes, it scares you. Right, deep down, right? This is the philosophical Joe, right? People don't like change. That's the main thing, right? 30 years from now, no one will give a fuck. Maybe not 30, 50 years from now, nobody will give a fuck, right? Most people won't care. But people don't like change. You're brought up a certain way, and if there's something that diverts from how you were brought up, you don't like that, usually. Because why change something? It's also the fear that people really like Chris and really like Mr. Beast. And everything is good how it is, right? And you know how a lot of people say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it? Well, to Chris, something was broken. And he needed to fix that personally. But somebody said Ka ain't trying to get canceled. This is not me trying to get canceled. This is literally my genuine take. I'm a philosophy and religion major. I love talking about this shit. To Chris, something's broken. They want to change that. He's trans, right? To the outside viewer that doesn't like this, they see Mr. Beast, they see Chris, they see everything that they like. It's perfectly fine. There's no need for change. Any change could change what they like, right? It could make it worse. So even if it's not necessarily making it worse, a change from good means it's bad. Does that make sense? Why would there... If Mr. Beast is great how it is, and Chris is great how they perceive Chris, any change is bad. In their mind. Even though it might not change, right? Because Chris's personality isn't changing. Chris is still Chris. Chris will still have the same reactions, the same everything. It's the appearance of Chris that looks different. Even though they're the same individual, because they're in their mind, they've been that person that they're becoming physically. Mentally, they're the same, right? How you look depicts your personality, right? Chris's personality is not changing. Chris is Chris. Chris might act a bit more feminine, but deep down, the jokes that they make on the videos and how they respond to things, they're the same person. You are a consciousness in a sleeve. How you perceive your sleeve is in accordance, and how you change your sleeve is in accordance into how you see yourself. The way you put your hair up, the way you shave your face, the clothes you wear, it depicts your personality. It depicts who you are. Yes, they're changing somewhat mentally, but deep down, they're the same consciousness they were. The videos aren't going to get worse. People are scared they are because they're scared of the change because they liked how it used to be. But just because they liked how it used to be doesn't mean it's going to be any worse. That's my take. And it's also the effect that people are seeing it from a content perspective of why would Chris do this if it could hurt the content? Because it's their life. You know what I mean? I'm not just a streamer, right? I have a girlfriend. I go to college. I have aspirations in my life outside of social media. To you guys, you only see me as a social media influencer. But you do other things. Chris has their own life. Somebody said, Joe, are you autistic? No. But yeah. You have your own life. You have your own aspirations. You are, like, the way I love looking at it, right? A lot of people look at someone else and they just say they're someone else, right? But when you look at other people, you see their physical body. Try and look at who they are past that. And you will have a much better respect for everyone around you. I'm getting off. This is so boring. Yo, I'm banning you. Oh, I don't care. Just watch the fucking video. Oh my God. Oh my God. Somebody said, it's okay if you're transphobic, Joe. We don't care. Dude, I'm not like, why do some people think that if you have like a take that coincides with non-cancelization, that you're only doing it to not be canceled? There are people that do that. Before I even was on social media, I had these takes, right? I'm not doing this because I don't want to be canceled. If I didn't want to be canceled, I wouldn't talk about it, right? I would just never speak on the subject. Do you see what I mean? Like, I wouldn't say anything, right? Why would I talk about this if I didn't want to be canceled? It's just my take. Bro said, this is so... Why are you mad, too? Like, I see, like, dude, I get it if you don't want to watch it, but, like, damn. Like, you're allowed to have your I'm going to play the video. But I'm saying, like, you're allowed to have your opinion on this, and please, chat, share your opinion. But, like, when if you're going to come in my chat like that kid, say he's bored, and then tell me to be transphobic because he's like, oh, you're only acting this way to not be canceled, that's just weird. Sigma for the 300 biddies. Can you look at my account? I was banned for being misunderstood. Oh, Jesus Christ. You said El Chris, he's racist. He said the N-word with the hard R back in old Mr. Beast streams. El Chris Islamophobe. And then some other things. Like, you're not wrong in the things that you're saying Chris has done, but you're only saying those things because you're mad at how Chris is now. You know what I mean? Those things were years ago, right? And they were bad. Or I don't know about the Islamophobia, but I know the thing with, like, the helicopter and all this other shit. That was, like, from Mr. Beast 6000, right? I'll unban you because you're not saying shit that's cap. But, what I'm saying is you're only bringing that up because you don't like how Chris is now. If we were just watching a Mr. Beast video 6 months back, you would have never said, El Chris, he said the N-word. You're only saying that now because you don't like how Chris is now. This for the 300 biddies. It's selective. Jaden for the 300 biddies. But I did unban you. Because I'm not going to ban you for speaking your mind like that. Ollie for the 300 biddies. My elementary school principal came out as transgender at first. Everybody found it was weird. Now I can see it. And that I just taught myself to find it was weird. Yeah. FR Dash for the sub. Chicken for the 300 biddies. Not scared of the change. It made me uncomfortable to see the person I grew up watching change. Yeah. No hate. It's his life. Exactly. Goo-wop for the 305 bits. So many people try to push it on kids. Should be taking pills and teach elementary school kids about turning trans. Yeah, I don't agree with people trying to turn kids to being trans at a young age like that. But kids can make their own decisions. You know what I mean? Farhad for the 300 biddies. But pushing it on them, yeah, I understand what you mean. Transphobia always stems from not understanding the trans experience. Yes. Mr. Outdoorsman for the 300 biddies. Crazy Cold for the sub. Hey, Hyper for the 500 bits. Binish for the sub. Lord for the 300 biddies. I gotta get back to the video chat. Negative for the 3 but he's 13. I have a boring life. I'm going to start working out as soon as possible, which is 14 legally. Is that a good idea, though? Should I find another hobby? No. Working out's fine. Just focus on form. All right, back to the vid.
Dynamic within the videos. For example, in a recent live stream titled Opening 1,000 Mystery Art Boxes, Chris would
Am I pissing y'all off, though? Like, I know a lot of people disagree with me in my chat, right? Because I'm not like Hassan, where 90% of my chat is, like, liberal. I have, like, a very mixed chat. So, like, if I am saying shit that's, like, and I'm not letting y'all speak your mind, you can speak your mind, right? But, like genuinely, like, I'm not trying to upset people. Like, I do like having political discourse or just discourse in general where people are able to share their opinion. The only time I ban people is when they're flat out, like, fucked. Where they're, like, a dickhead about it. And they're like, oh, this fucking weirdo. Like, instead of actually just having a take and sharing an opinion on it, you just have, like, some biased opinion where it's filled with hatred rather than logical opinions. Like, that's what I like, right? You can share your opinion, but don't just share it off of emotion. Share it out of logic, right?
Once again dress in quite a feminine way, and while everybody participated as usual, the energy and vibe didn't feel nearly as smooth as it normally does. It felt as though there was an unaddressed elephant in the room, and therefore everybody was in their head, as opposed to being in the present moment enjoying each other's company.
Somebody said I used to be liberal, but now I don't know, because I agree with some things on both sides, I disagree with some things on both sides. Yeah, that's a lot of people. I don't agree with, like, liberals on everything. I would say, for the most part, I'm a social democrat, but I would not say, like, every single topic ever I agree with, like, liberals. There are things that I will sway. But, like, I always say it's easier to classify myself as a liberal just because if I say I'm a social democrat, but I also disagree with these things on energy or something like that, well, then people don't get confused because the majority of people don't understand politics. Also, I always have to preface this. When I say I'm a liberal, it does not mean I don't respect you if you're a conservative. I have a lot of conservative friends. I have a lot of Republican friends. I have a lot of friends in the Green Party and the Democratic Party and everywhere, right? I'm not one of those people that's going to get fucking mad if you say you're something else, okay? People get so high-strung when you mention politics. Ryan for the 302 bets. I don't think this is homophobic, but I think it should be men and women only. That's how I was raised for a male to do a generic male things. Do you get me like that? Yeah, but you're only raised like that societally. The only reason you think that is because you were taught that. Just don't seem right in my eyes. Yeah? It's Eli for the 300 videos. I do disagree because I'm a conservative. I don't really give a fuck about what people think. Yeah. I understand what you're saying, Ryan, but it's also like, why do you believe that? Like, you're saying, I believe it should be that way. Why? Right? That's my question.
Maybe everybody was simply too busy opening packages, but Chris did make these bizarre jokes about Jimmy being female, making him incredibly uncomfortable.
Oh my god, Jimmy, look, they drew you. Jimmy, they drew you so well. It looks just like you.
Oh, yes.
Oh my god, it's Jimmy.
How did fan art? This is what we were looking for. Be brave, be honest, be kind. Mr.
I will admit, this live stream was awkward as fuck the entire time. The live stream was so awkward. We tuned into a section of it on stream. It was not, it was just very awkward live stream. Very awkward. Don't know why it's very awkward live stream. TB for the sub.
That is my tagline.
Becoming even weirder when each member started to pay each other compliments.
Hey, nice shirt. Thanks, dude. Nice shirt.
Hey, nice shirt.
Thanks, dude. Nice.
It was, if you want me to be real, people are looking into it a lot more. They're very awkward a lot of the time. Like, tune back to a live stream like 7 months ago, and there's probably a clip where they're really fucking awkward. Like, they're just very awkward people a lot of the time. Sure. That's cap. That's not cap. I literally met all of them. They're very nice, but, like, there's sections where it's like, okay, we're going to have to refilm this, right? Because it's filmed. On live, they don't perform because they're not live streamers. They're weird on live.
Thanks. Nice shirt.
Nice.
They're pre-recorded content people.
Shoes.
For the most part, the live stream was devoid of awkward moments. However, it would act as fodder for another 100 million views worth of drama and criticism. Chris likely believes that people will slowly adapt to his new appearance over time, but is this really going to happen?
Yes! You're telling me 8 months from dude, people care about shit for 2 weeks on social media. Yo, literally. people care about shit on social media for 2 weeks. That is the attention span of how long people care about most things. Most things. I'm not talking about serious shit, right? But I'm talking about, like, personal opinions, shit like that, 2 weeks, right? A year from now, ain't nobody gonna give a fuck. And no one gonna give a fuck.
Well, maybe.
No way, dude, a year from now you think fucking Live Like Evan or whatever his name is gonna still be tweeting about Chris? No, because he'll stop caring. What about Andrew Tate? Yeah, but that brings it back up, right? Tate comes out with different opinions and shit like that. Chris is just trans. Not every video is going to be like, hey, I'm trans. It's just going to be, Chris is trans now. A year from now, nobody's going to care. Sub for the sub. Super for the 500 biddies. People should just let others do what they want to do regardless of how their identity or sexual orientation. If you don't like how Chris has changed, don't watch him. Yeah, that's the take.
Maybe. It's difficult to say as the situation is fairly unique, especially when considering Chris's...
It is a very unique situation. This is one of the first situations where somebody... There are a lot of trans content creators. Not a lot of trans content creators got popular before they were trans. And especially since it's the largest YouTube conglomerate, it is a very on hot topic situation, right? There are a lot of trans creators. A lot of them become popular post being trans, right? Or post transition. So this is Chris in the midst of becoming trans 5 years after starting content creation, right? It's something that people aren't used to. Misplaced for the sub.
Reputation and influence. However, if Chris continues to transition, would it be unreasonable to say that he could jeopardize some of the personality traits which made him a successful member in the first place?
No. What made Chris a successful member? Was it the fact that he had a beard and looked like a dude? Or was it the fact that he had stupid, funny jokes that played well with the video? Like, that's a shitty take.
Perhaps the opposite will happen, and he'll instead pick up new personality traits.
Chris wasn't popular because Chris was a man. Chris wasn't popular because Chris has a beard. Chris was popular because Chris's commentary, Chris's reactions to things were funny.
It's that better.
2-inch. Can you stop, dude? 2-inch. Like, I'm seeing, you're just typing random chats.
Resonate with the current MrBeast audience. This was put forward in many comments supportive of Chris, who implied that there'll be millions of queer kids who look up to him, although this doesn't necessarily mean that it'll add any value to the videos. MrBeast has likely cultivated a massive LGBT...
Why would it remove value? What is removing value from the video? The fact that Chris looks like a woman now. The reactions are going to be the same. Chris's takes are going to be the same. Chris's commentary is going to be the same. Chris looks like a woman now. That's what people don't like. That's the root of it. Sony's trying to say, oh, it's going to change. Oh, well, now, what is it really going to not add? It's not really adding anything to the content. I don't think Chris is becoming trans to add anything to the content.
The audience, all of whom are already watching anyway, and if we've learned anything from Hollywood in recent years, it's that adding over the top...
Yes, that is weird when Hollywood movies just add people for social development, right? There are a lot. Disney does it a lot. There's a lot of shows and movies that do that, where they just throw in a gay couple or throw some shit, and it's obvious that they just did that. But this is not that. This is not a character. This is not a caricature, right, Sonny? This is not Chris the character. This is Chris the person, not an actor.
Of LGBT characters for the sake of relatability rarely works as intended and is often nothing more than a distraction from the premise of the movie or video. On top of this, it can be uncomfortable and unrelatable for the silent majority, although as we have seen, a situation like Chris's does have the potential to create an otherworldly amount of discussion, which could be seen as a benefit for the MrBeast brand.
Drama is good for growth, 100%. That would be an easy way to up my
So you're
if
a
I got
Keemstar?
it.
The problem is this type of situation is probably probably the last thing that Mr. Beast wants to attract, as he's forced to agree with Chris's position, as he has no way of manipulating the situation without being painted as the bad guy. It's a lose-lose situation for Mr. Beast. I think Jimmy is in an inescapable situation. If he kicks out Chris, cancelled. If he don't, his channel will die for real.
You think Mr. Beast's channel is gonna die because Chris is trans? Where is that logic coming from? Like, I understand the take of like, oh, if hypothetically Jimmy didn't agree with this, he couldn't kick Chris out because that would come off as transphobic. No shit. But Jimmy and Chris are lifelong friends. Key word, lifelong friends. If you were best friends with someone for 15 years and they said, I think I'm gonna transition, would you just stop being their friend? No, because you would have some sort of inkling of their change or personality. You would have some sort of inkling. Chris was bi. Or Chris is bi. Chris was getting more feminine. They probably had talks about this. They're best friends. They probably had talks about this for fucking months on end, right? You're lifelong friends with them. I don't think Mr. Beast gives a fuck, or Jimmy gives a fuck. And the idea that his channel will die is crazy. Are there going to be people that stop watching Mr. Beast because of Chris? Yeah. It's negligible. It is negligible.
An inescapable situation is a pretty good way of describing the drama, which is also why it deserves the harsh label of being a nightmare. Jimmy has no option but—
People let go of 30-year relationships because of money. Yeah, money is a lot more— if you really want me to be real, people care a lot more about money than whether or not your friend would be trans. That would be a bigger issue. People value money more than they value anything in the world. Another problem with life, right? But you trying to relate, somebody becoming trans as like an easy drop comparable to somebody like leaving somebody because of money. People value money more than anything. I think that's a bad comparison.
But to publicly express acceptance of Chris's transition, a silence or even worse, disapproval would come with obvious severe repercussions. However—
Would you be trans, Joe? No. But it's my life. It's somebody else's life.
In accepting Chris's transition—
Can you not go 10 seconds without pausing? So you want me to pause every 10 seconds based on how you worded that.
Jimmy implies that this will be the new normal within the content, thus annoying a different group of people, many of whom will never express their true feelings and may rather simply click on fewer Mr. Beast videos. If this is—
Crux, thank you for the 10 gifted subs! Stop in the chat for that. Thank you for the fucking 10 gifted. Crux20, I appreciate that fucking shit. Some of my friends don't like how Chris is changing, but I'm fine with it. I don't know if I should care or not. Marcota for the 500 biddies. I dislike Chris's decision, but I support it. If he's happy who he is, then I'm not harming anybody. He shouldn't get hate. Yeah. Use for the sub, the king for the 3. What is liberal and conservative? I don't know what this means. I'm not American. Misplaced for the sub. Liberals are usually associated with the Democratic Party and conservatives with the Republican Party. Not always, right? But it's based on your views socially and economically. Conservatives stereotypically or categorically, regularly. Lord, thank you for the fucking 10 gifteds. I'm unpinning this message because I don't want that pin for fucking 10 hours. Lord, thank you for the 10 gifteds as well. Conservatives regularly agree with, like, they're pro-life, lesser taxes for the rich, lesser taxes in general, more an open market idea, a more free stance on gun use, as well as, like, a million other topics, right? And then, like, liberals is more about, like, social acceptance, a lot of other shit. Higher taxes for the rich. There's a lot of things. That's just the base views. I don't really want to talk about that for 10 hours.
Is the case, Jimmy has no option but to accept this fate, as removing Chris from the videos in any kind of way could create an even more severe media firestorm. The only clean solution, should things go south, might be for Chris to resign himself, and even then rumors and bad press will be unavoidable. Whether it be arrogance or ignorance—
Like, I get what they're saying, but I really don't— it's all from the assumption that it's gonna kill the views. And that, like, Jimmy and, like, that if Chris is in the videos all the time now again, it's going to kill the views. Like, how often is Chris in a Mr. Beast video now? Minimally. A lot? Not really. The guys are not in the videos almost at all. It's like a 10-second clip here and there. The majority of the videos, Mr. Beast. Like, literally, let's look through. That was the end of the video. Let's look through this. Crux, thank you for the fucking 5 gifteds. All right, we're going to move this Vietnam video to another day, and we're going to watch this little short story. All right. Like the plane ticket.
We're going to fly on this jet that costs